Clammer here. I thought I would do a blog post on peach canning because I remember when I was first starting to can, it wasn't something that I had learned growing up, and so I was very confused about the process and really read as much as I could about how to do it, and now it's just been a little bit of trial by error the last couple of years, and I feel like I finally have it down to a science. So I just wanted to do this blog post and video to let you know that if you are canning for the first time, it is not hard. Hopefully this will give you the confidence to give it a try. And also just as a reminder to myself of what I have found that works best over the last couple of years so that I know where to turn next year as I am trying to remember the process again. So I'm going to just give you a brief overview of my setup for peach canning here in a minute. So let me turn my camera around. So here you can see I have my peaches all laid out on my counter. The reason that I do this is so that I can choose from them to decide which ones are the most ripe and ready for canning. So they are setting out and they smell delicious. I can't wait for canned peaches. We eat them all winter long. My kids think they're like candy, which is great because they're much more nutritious than candy, and it's a way for us to bring summer back to winter. We like to eat them all winter long when fresh peaches aren't available. So here you can see my cutting board. I've been hard at work, so we've got pits and peels already here as part of the process. And then my jars. So I have mostly wide mouth jars. You can see that one on the right over here is a wide mouth jar. That's what I prefer, but I do have some of the regular mouth jars too. The wide mouth jars are nice because if you can get your peaches to cooperate, which isn't always the case, but then you can do peach halves instead in the wide mouth jars, and that goes nice and quick and simple, and you can fit quite a few peach halves in that jar, and then like I said, the whole process goes quicker because you don't have to slice them. You can see in the standard mouth jar I'm working on slicing those into that. And then I have my Fruit Fresh here. I do like to add the Fruit Fresh just to keep them from browning at the end. Some people do, some people don't. And then just let me show you my setup at the stove. Sorry about the spin there. So here I've got my hot water bath. So this is where my peaches go for about 2 minutes before I cool them off in an ice water bath. And that ice water bath will then, actually the combination of the two will help to peel them for me. Really, the peel just comes off so easily. So this is my ice water bath. You can see that my ice has melted. I keep adding ice pretty much each time that I cool my peaches. And then in the center here I've got my water bath canner, and this is set to boil, so it's starting to heat up nicely for me, and that will be ready to go. I have one jar completed, you can see over here, and that will be ready to go in the water bath canner once I get a nice collection of them. My canner holds 7, but I have a hard time fitting 7-quart jars in there. 6 seems to fit nicer, so I will probably do 6 at a time. So when I have my jars all prepared, then they all go into my water bath canner here, and I make sure the water is covering the top of the cans, and then I put my lid on. This piece comes down like this once my jars are all in there. Goes inside, my lid goes on, and then I set my timer for 25 minutes, and those peaches will then cook in the water bath canner for 25 minutes. After that, I lift this thing up again, let them cool briefly, and then take them out and put them on a towel. And then after about an hour to 2, you can check their seal. You want for the top here to be nice and tight, where you can't press it up or down, then you know that it's sealed. I have had success with reusing lids from past years, so you can see that this is actually a lid that I reused before, or that I used before and will reuse today, and that has worked well for me. What I do is I put them in a small pan of water, and I let those go on the stove. Usually I set it in the far back burner of the stove. I let those go for about 5 minutes on boil, and that seems to work well to loosen the seal and help them to reseal again this year. So that's my process. I hope that you enjoy canning, and send any questions that you have my way.